Welcome back, everybody, to another thrilling episode of Thrive Your Program with Coach 2Js. This is your host, Jeremy Jones, and today we're going to talk about the differences between team workouts with static holds and the ones with work rest. So this is a workout that has a lot of static holds and how that changes workouts, changes the strategy and changes the workout. And then we're also going to talk about the indy version. So the difference between team workouts with static holds is that we're now there's no resting, right? And ultimately what happens is when you're doing a workout with one person working, one person or two people resting or whatever, the difference is that you're going to move at a much faster pace, and as much as you can, you're going to trade more often. And so the key to those workouts is to make sure that work is being done at all times, right? So you never want to avoid those situations where the bar is sitting on the floor and no work is getting done, right? That's how that means you paced incorrectly, right? So in very rare circumstances where will both people need to be resting before one person can go up and attempt the next rep or the next set. But when it comes to static holds, the opposite is true when you actually want both people resting at the same time. So ultimately, if we're doing a wall sit and then the other person's got the barbell, they want to do a set of 3 or 4 clean and jerks, for example, and then rest, and then the person's going to come off the wall and rest. So there's that communication aspect where they're both resting, they're both working, they're both resting, they're both working. So it has to be sort of in unison, as versus if it was clean and jerks and the other person rests. You just want to make sure that somebody's doing work at all times. So that's going to change the pace of the workout, and also too that because of these static holds, how much it takes out of you. That also means you need to be a lot more conservative with how many reps you can do, and remember that you still want to move fast and keep moving because your partner is doing work while is not just totally resting. So you have to move fast, but you won't necessarily move as fast as if you get to just rest afterward. If it was work rest, you want to go blindingly fast because you're going to do no work as your partner goes. But in this case, you're going to want to have a more steady pace, and then let the partner. And then make sure you have tell them last rep so that they know they can come off the wall as soon as you finish the rep. And then it's also important too that you face your partners as much as you can so you can see what's going on. Obviously, if you can't see each other and the music's up and everyone's yelling, it's going to be hard to notice. So it's another one of those workouts, like all team workouts. There's a lot of communication involved. So we got our coach's choice warm up. Make it fun for folks. Then but just make sure you're thoroughly warming people up. Thinking about we're doing clean and jerks, we're doing some dumbbell burpee box step overs. So there's going to be some other pulling motions, some pushing motions. So just make sure that you're not just throwing people into that willy-nilly. Then we've got 10 minutes. We're going to a challenging power clean plus 2 jerks. This is going to let people, play around with their strength, work on their technique before they do the Metcon. It's also going to let partners kind of get a realistic vision of where they're at. So that might change their strategy. So that's another reason why we're doing that. And then we're going to do Parks and Rec, which is an awesome show. 20-minute AMRAP. So it's 16 clean and jerks, but the partner has to be in a wall sit. Right, so the person's going to go. You have to be near a wall, and they're going to put their back against the wall and sit down at what we're looking for is that 90 degrees, and they're going to have to sit there and really fight to stay in that position. So the first round or two won't be that bad, but what'll happen is as they come back to the third round, it's really tough because the clean and jerks are going to be broken up way more. People are going to be really fatigued, so it takes a lot longer to do clean and jerks, which means the person's doing a lot longer wall sits, and their legs are going to be fried. So just make sure when they go back to the cleans that they're not just pulling up with their back because their quads are blown up or whatever from the wall sits. Then we got 16 dumbbell burpee box step overs. So this is just one dumbbell, and they can hold it however they want. So they're going to drop down and do a burpee. They're going to pick that dumbbell up. They can hold it in a goblet. They can hold it at their side like a farmer or a suitcase carry. They can rack it on their shoulder or whatever. But they want to step up on the box, and then step over. So we want to be careful with people. We don't want them to eat it. So their legs are going to be fried from these wall sits. Again, a couple rounds these step overs. It's going to be a little bit dangerous, a little bit sketchy. Just make sure people. That's one of the reasons why I don't do step overs or burpee box step ups very often because coming down while holding that load, things can get a little squirrely. So just make sure people are being smart with they're not going too fast. Now for these reps to count, the person will be in a hang, right? So depending on how their group's feeling from the previous programming the last couple of days, they may have to break that up just because of the hangs are so hard. But static hangs under a bar are really good for people. It's a very functional movement, so it's good that we get to incorporate it in here into some of the workouts. But with that also means their grip's going to be taxed for the next set of clean and jerks, and you can see how this workout gets very hard very fast, even though it looks pretty simple. And then we've got the indy version. So again, when it comes to team workouts, we don't want to force people to do team workouts if that's not what they're about. And obviously, we want to encourage people to do the team workouts because there's a ton of benefits to doing them that I've talked about at length. But at the same time, we don't want people skipping Saturdays because there's usually a team workout. So we always want to have this indy version. If you have an odd number of people, or somebody just wants to do their own thing, or they're just worried about letting their teammates down or being judged or whatever. You don't have to get totally into the weeds with them, but you can apply some gentle pressure. But if they really just don't want to do it, just let them do their own thing. Don't be super judgy. But they're going to do 8 clean and jerks, 30-second wall sit, 8 dumbbell burpee box step ups, 30-second hang, but then they get 30 seconds rest. And that's because, again, what's expected with the partner version is that there will be times where both partners are resting. Could be during the transitions, could be even within a set, could be, like I said, 4 clean and jerks, rest, 4 clean and jerks, switch and rest, right? And so that's going to be built in there, and they're just going to go for 20 minutes as well. But it is a Saturday, so I did include some fun cash out stuff so people can get a little bit more done that day on a Saturday. That's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot, and thrive on.